Welcome to TheFinanceStory.com. Today I have with me Seema Harsha, who's a co-founder and CEO of Indiassetz.
Yeah, hi Vishal, thank you.
Seema, are you an ex-banker turned entrepreneur? And why real estate? Why did you choose real estate? And tell me a little bit about Indiassetz.
Okay, yeah, I've been a banker. I'm a career banker. Post my MBA, I started my banking career with Centurion Bank, and then I moved on to Standard Chartered. I worked with HSBC for a couple of years. All through, I've been in corporate banking, corporate lending, and hardcore banker. So 2015, me and my co-founder realized that we've been in banking all through, and banking is so advanced in India. The people's cash wealth is managed really well, especially in India. But when it comes to real estate, India has been a little, behind. I could say people end up managing their real estate on their own. So there's no organization as such. We depend on our family, friends, relatives. Even today, most of our customers, before they become Indiassetz customers, they've been dependent on the, parents back in India. They're traveling, the global citizens. But the love for real estate continues. Indians just love real estate, whether they're resident Indians or NRIs. They would want to, with dollar appreciating, the NRI interest is coming up more. But then end of the day, you could buy and then what, everything's being managed by themselves. It becomes sort of a paying value. That is where we plugged in the gap, and we were discussing internally that we've been in banking for so long. Why don't we, set up a banking kind of environment in India for real estate? So that's how Indiassetz started in 2015. 14 October is when we quit, and then 15 January is when we started, Vishal.
We'll get into it.
Yes.
Did you become a banker because of your love for finance, or because your parents were bankers, or what was the influence there?
I did my MBA in finance. That's one sort of more. My parents really never influenced anything. So I just loved that subject. But also what happens is, those days the foreign banks had just come in, Standard Chartered, HSBC. In 98, 99, it was a big deal to join a foreign bank. That's how sort of pulled me into the banking industry. Yeah. Born, brought up in Bangalore. I'm a hardcore Bangalorean.
Everybody manages their own real estate and have a difficult time managing it, especially NRIs, right? Was that the hypothesis in 2014? That you want to manage real estate portfolios of NRIs or HNIs who have assets more than 1 billion? Do they have that kind of money?
See, actually, Indiassetz as a whole is managing 1 billion plus AUM. If you question what you said, banking and real estate is so interlinked. Mm-hmm. While we were banking, let's assume I'm lending to some company. Underlying asset is real estate. So as a banker, you would end up knowing all the financial assets, insurance, banking has so many, BFSI sector has so many financial products. Real estate is also another asset class for us. We've gone through banking, we've learned a lot about real estate too. But only thing is, for individuals like you and me, when we own a lot of real estate, there's really nobody to manage it. So that's when we started this. But for your question, NRIs have a lot of real estate. RIs, resident Indians, have a lot of real estate. But Indiassetz as a whole, I have about 10,000 plus customers today availing my services back in these 5 cities: Bangalore, Hyderabad, Chennai, Bombay, and Delhi.
Taking that step as a founder, did you start off with a set of clients and that gave you the confidence to build this further? How did you get to that 1 billion AUM or whatever?
Yeah, right? So initially, of course, it is very tough, Vishal, because you would have gotten into the comfort zone of these corporates, right? You have all the luxury, you're really earning well and things like that. But the drive to do something on your own, and when you know this concept would work, is something which pushed us. And there's a huge need, there is a huge need, and we know it very well as bankers. We sort of get a macro view of the whole, businesses, because we interact with various manufacturing companies, pharma companies. As bankers, that's an advantage we get over other industry, because you get a perspective of all industries. But when we knew that there is this lacuna in any industry, any individual you go, they have this problem, so why not we address it? That sort of drove us to resign our corporate, comfortable jobs. And then once we got out of it, obviously life was not so great. 3 or 4 of us decided to start the company. Fortunately, I must thank a friend of ours in Sadashanagar. She gave us a garage 10 by 10 garages. That's where we started, 4 of us, and then we moved on to 10 people. Initially, what we did, Vishal, we just did a little bit of survey, of course, before resigning, with a lot of individual customers, purely HNIs and, upper middle class people, whether you would want this kind of service, whether India is okay to outsource their real estate banking, because a lot of people don't want to give real estate. They're okay to go to bank and deposit 1 crore, but then real estate, they would want to manage themselves. We did that survey. I think we got such a great response that this is the most pain factor we have. If there's an organization which could handle it, nothing like it.
Talk about the core challenges of getting a technology person on one. You talked about challenges of starting up. Let's talk about challenges of building a team, convincing, and also challenges of building a marketing and sales organization.
There was really no similar company. Even today in India, we really hardly have any competition who was doing this kind of work for individuals, So real estate segment is fragmented. You have the big four CBREs and all of them handling the large corporates, and you have prop tech like Magic Bricks and all of them. They just aggregate a model. But there's really nobody managing and executing and advising individuals real estate, which we've been, been running it quite well for so many years. But initially, if you say what we did, Vishal, we are bankers, we are risk averse. We went very slow in the beginning. So what we did is we wanted the proof of the model. The proof is when you make profit. Yeah, we really, as bankers for 15 years, hardcore lending, we see balance sheets day in and day out. And if you don't see a profit in a balance sheet, it really doesn't make sense for us. So when we start any business, we would want to see the profit. So what we did purely 15 and 16, 2 years, we worked on this model. We hired people. We generated cash within the system. We were a profitable company for 2 years. And that's when we started putting our minds into the technology. And we, it's a proprietary technology which we're building. I mean, there is no technology where I just buy a few products and few tools and put it together for our customers to use. So we started building in-house the kind of, process based on how banking did 20 years back. Banking was so manual into 90s, 95, 98 and 2000 plus. Slowly banks moved to technology, right? So that's how we are building internally. And 2 years of profitable balance sheet. Again, I mean, we've been profitable all 6 years. Till 22, we have been profitable. So we invested slowly in technology. When we realized this January that we need more money in tech because tech plays a big role. We don't want to be like bank opening many branches. We want to have limited branches, limited people, but dependency on the technology as more. So we just raised a pre-series round of money from HNIs in January. Great.
Okay. How does the product work? Type of commercial properties that I own, residential, commercial, and then pay $12,000 per annum kind of a thing. And then the tech will manage it itself because the documentation, everything I'll just upload and you will make a dashboard for me. Is that how it works? So how does the whole system work?
Yeah, so to begin with, the onboarding is completely digitized, your KYC is digitized, and then you could stack up all your properties. You have a whole database of your real estate, personal real estate wealth stacked up. You could raise service requests. I mean, you'll have a dedicated relationship manager based on the category of the customer you are. I mean, you could communicate through, the platform completely with Indiassetz. And only what we've kept, Vishal, I mean, we're not getting very defensive because it is a human intensive industry too, right? So we will keep this in hybrid model because we just started off with the platform and people have to adopt themselves. And there's so much government organization involved in this, where fully digitizing is not possible at this point of time because government has to open up their data for us. So we're keeping this a hybrid model. 70% we want our customers to go online and interact with the platform through the platform to IA employees, and then of course the last 30% we will still continue to have people doing the last mile delivery, just like any other. Swiggy is also having people at the ground level to complete that whole last mile connectivity. So that's how we continue to do that. Yeah.
Okay, and just for our audience today, you manage about $1 billion in size of assets. Is that the
so we're about 10,000 customers. Even if you take an average of 1 to 2 crores of real estate portfolio, we're much bigger than that right now.
Who groomed you into leadership? Did the startup lead you into leadership? You're a CEO and co-founder. Yeah. So who built your leadership style or Did you have people mentoring you for that? Was there a role model? If it's a woman, do let us know who she is, or even if it's a man, do let us know who he or she is.
Banking, I've had great bosses. Yeah, I mean, at every level, every stage, especially in Standard Chartered, we've really had some interesting people whom I worked with and learned a lot in the banking industry. And then it's sort of, when you're in a bank, you're always handling a team. So banks is full of large teams. I don't think you could be a manager. The most manager will have 20 people under them. So when you're in a senior role, you will handle 100, 200 people under you. If you're regional head for South, you will have people across the South region of 200 people. So it's sort of, when you're with people, my leadership role is all about handling people. You can handle everything. Everything becomes easier, but if you handle people, is the biggest challenge I've seen. But I think over so many years, we've understood important it is to handle a team and people and how they perform. It all depends on the manager, how you handle this whole thing. And in a startup, you'll have to be even, because in a corporate sector, life is different. I mean, they work for the corporate. Here, they work for you, you and your passion and your vision. So that sort of becomes more challenging, that you, even for a day, you can't say that, listen, I'm not sure about my vision. I'm not sure of anything. You always have to be extremely clear. And that's how I think Shivam and I have been for the last 7 years, that we exactly know what to do and we just drive the whole team in the same direction. You must have a mentor, especially from the startup world, because they would have seen the whole cycle. If I look back in 2015, if somebody was there as mentor, we would not have done so many mistakes, which I may call, we learn a lot. So mentor always helps. I'm sure today, if somebody wants to start a company, if they come and meet me, I'm ready to sit and give them all the do's and don'ts, So mentor is always helpful. I don't see that, you should always have a co-founder who's already experienced. The journey is great if both of the founders are, starting off fresh, and have a mentor to guide them in the right direction and basically tell them what to do.
What does diversity and inclusivity mean to you? What are some of the initiatives that you've taken for women or the LGBTQ community? And tell us about women in real estate, or WIRE as they call it.
When we started off in 2000, my career started in 2000, really very few women in banking. There's at least entry level you had, quite a few women in banking, but at the senior level, it's just all men. But slowly, I think banking has changed over the last 20 years, and I'm so happy that in various banks, the senior, the MDs of the banks are women. It's just such a great achievement, But real estate is where it is right now, is what banking was 20 years back. I'm hoping that in real estate also a lot of women come in. The good part is that at the entry level, again, a lot of women are coming in. But at the top level, it gets very lonely for women. I think that is something which we are trying to change. There is a problem. Diversity with women itself is a problem. There are hardly any women in the entire ecosystem. Second is, in my company, what we've done is that we've ensured all the senior people in the departments, various verticals, we are hiring women. Our first priority is for women, and if I don't find somebody suitable, then I hire a guy or somebody else. WIRE, what we started, Vishal, the third bit is that we want more and more women to participate in real estate. All the women think that real estate is a very grey area. It gets very murky. Is it something which I should be doing? Why don't I leave it on the men to handle it? But absolutely nothing. It's just another financial asset. It's an asset class. But so we are pushing all the women who may have stopped their career for, they've just gone off the track. They've taken a break or something like that. So we called all the women who would want to start their career, but then why not look at real estate?
Why not?
That's the initiative which we have taken, that women in real estate, anybody who's working from home or whatever it is, if they've taken a break from the career, they could just call us up and then come on board to work on the real estate industry, because we really need them, because women bring in a lot of trust factor. That's how we have experienced it, and we want more of them to come in.
What are you reading today? And you could recommend any book that you've liked over the years.
Other than reading the financial papers, Business Standard, Economic Times, VC World, because I'm raising money. So anything to do with the VC world is what I'm reading today.
Yeah. Nice to see you on fundraising mode. We wish you all the best from the Finance Story. And we're going to catch up soon. Ladies and gentlemen, that's Seema of Indiassetz. Thank you.